was making coffee the other morning when I heard a familiar phrase, "You are not the doer." And something in me paused. And while I understand the essence of what was being said, I don't fully agree. Not because I reject the idea of stillness or presence, but because I believe we have to be careful with how we speak about the human experience. Hey, it's Veronica. Today's reflection is something I've been sitting with for a while, especially as I keep hearing the message that we need to surrender the doer, or that being means stepping away from doing. But I want to offer another perspective. What if the problem isn't that we're doing, but what we're doing from fear, performance, or survival? You didn't come here to escape being human. You came here to remember who you are while being fully in it. So in this video, I want to explore the difference between the false doer, the sacred experiencer, and the human who chose to feel. This is for anyone who has ever felt like their spiritual path asked them to bypass their humanness. So let's talk about what it really means to live from presence, not despite your humanity, but through it. You are not the false doer, but you are the experiencer. Many non-dual teachings speak of dissolving the ego, surrendering the I, and realizing the soul is untouched by doing. And I agree for the most part. Yes, dissolve the illusion. Yes, soften the stories you've inherited. Yes, question the identity that was shaped by fear, control, performance, and survival. But no, don't abandon the sacred role of a Hamkara, the true eye maker, not the false identity known as Asmita, but the experiencer, the one who chose to be here. There's a difference, and that difference matters. Some teachings can become disembodied. When we tell people you are not the doer, we risk sending the message, then nothing matters. You are not responsible. You don't need to feel anything. But the soul came here to experience, to feel grief and joy, to taste the textures of life, to live in the contrast, and to remember through the forgetting. To pretend that being doesn't include doing is to deny the very purpose of being here. Because this human you are, this body, this voice, this breath is not a mistake. It's a bridge between formless and form, between what is eternal and what is momentary. Heaven is not somewhere else, it's here. When you clear the distortion, when you remove the misperception and the false self, what you're left with isn't a blank void. You're left with truth, clarity, presence. The soul doesn't need to be perfected. It already is. But the human needs space to remember. The human needs to remember love and safety and connection, not to be told it isn't real, but to be guided back to what is real beneath the pain, beneath the story, beneath the inherited beliefs. This is why you came. You came to walk this earth, to feel the ground beneath your feet, to cry, to break, to rise again, to love and to lose, and to listen deeply to what lives beneath the noise. You came to experience what it means to be, not in spite of your humanness, but because of it. Because the only way back to source is through the experience of separation. And the only way to dissolve distortion is to be willing to feel. So no, don't rush to surrender the doer. Instead, reclaim the sacred role of the doer who moves from truth, not from fear, who remembers her essence while chopping the vegetables, rocking her child, walking through grief. Because a true doer isn't separate from being. She is present. She is being embodied. Take a moment now, just for yourself. Where in your life have you mistaken doing for being? Where in your life have you mistaken doing for proving? Where have you been taught that feeling was dangerous or that it made you weak? And where are you being invited to move from presence, not pressure? These aren't questions to rush. Let them live in you. Let them unfold over time. If this reflection stirred something in you, I invite you to stay with it. Let it land in your body, not as a concept to figure out, but as a remembering. These aren't questions. You don't have to choose between being and doing. You're allowed to be both. The soul that knows and the human that feels. Thank you for being here. And thank you for choosing to feel. If this resonated, feel free to share it with someone who you may think needs this reminder too. And if you'd like to keep walking this path with me, you can subscribe or explore more reflections through my podcast or website. Until next time, may you live from the truth of who you are, not by escaping your humanness, but by embodying it.